Okay, hello everybody, and I know I haven't posted on the channel in a while, but today we're going to be doing the first episode. Hopefully we'll do more episodes, but this is the first episode of the 3P podcast. Now, we've been debating on doing this podcast for a while, and I actually have done a podcast in the past with some of my other friends, but that ended pretty fast. But I've always had a fascination for podcasts and just having long conversations and talking to people. And I just released my album last week, which the day that this will go up, it will be Wednesday. So it'll be exactly a week after I have released the album. And today we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about my musical inspirations, my musical career, and things like that, as well as maybe some other things. So today, really it is an ALKA interview, but I'm like the one kind of like hosting it. I don't know, it's really weird, but we got two of the interviewers. You can introduce yourselves now. Xander, you go first.
What's up?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Then the next interviewer.
Hi, my name is Jacob, and I hate my life.
That's perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, so what do we want to get into first? What is the first question that you guys would like to ask me?
Jacob, I'll let you go first if you want.
All right, I would just like to know what was your inspiration for this whole album.
Let's see. I mean, a lot of the songs have their own inspirations. Really, the inspiration for this album was just that I wanted to pursue. I wanted to pursue different kinds of music. That's like when I released a poem from Matthew and Misfit. I was like, yo, I want to do different types of music, and I knew I wanted to work on some kind of album. And I didn't really have a meaning behind it yet, but I would find the meaning for the album later on down the line of making the album, because I mean the album name is Hellbent, and I had found out that name like early on down the line, but the reason it's called Hellbent is because it's like, don't focus on any of the negative things that are going on in your life, just focus on the goal that you're hell bent on achieving. So that's really what the message of the album is, because this album is basically just my own personal pursuit of happiness, and my pursuit of happiness is making music and talking to people and changing myself. So I thought it was a perfect name and a perfect way to encompass that sort of coping mechanism, because the way I cope and the way I change is through music. Yeah, really my inspiration, because a lot of the songs do individually have their own inspirations, but really the inspiration behind the whole album is just that I wanted to pursue more music and I wanted to try new things. And it's cool because trying new things in music corresponded with trying new things in my own personal life.
All right. So, Alex,
Yes.
what are your future plans for like your channel and your music in general?
Really, I'm hoping to just be able to get like more freedom to do music, because like with my family and whatnot, I feel like I'm pretty restricted in what I'm allowed to put out there, I guess. I mean, I put some pretty crazy stuff out there, but I don't let a lot of my family know about it, because I know that they would think differently of me. So really my future plans would be to gain more freedom in doing music once I grow older and I'm able to be independent and things like that. Better equipment, things like that. And I also hope to be able to spread my message better, my motive of like 3P and things like that. I want to push those things. So really my future plans is just to experiment with music, keep making music. I want to try to get into YouTube again. I want to try. I mean, I really just don't. I don't know. I've like, I became burnt out on YouTube like a long time ago, but I think it'd be pretty cool to do YouTube on the side as well as music. If I can find a label sometime down the line when I'm like bigger and whatnot, that could maybe be ideal. But I don't know how exactly I would want to do a label, because I'm a pretty independent person when it comes to my creativity and how I like release my music. So I don't know how I do with a label, but I also want to make like a collaborative effort with this whole 3P thing, because I want to make like collaborative albums. I want to make like a group of musicians and things like that.
Um, what kind of like music artist would you say that you are? Like in like genre, would you say you're a rapper?
You know, I don't think I'd want to call myself a rapper, cause like I just call myself an artist. It's like one thing to generalize my genre off of the music that I put out there, but it's like another thing to think about my genre in the things that I actually do day to day. Because I sing and rap all the time equally. So I don't think I could really, I don't think I could stick it to one single genre of music. But I do make a lot of rap. But I do always love to experiment with new genres.
Alex, you said you were going to try to go back to YouTube, correct?
Yes.
If you went back to YouTube, would you do gaming or type of videos?
I would want to do gaming because it's just like a chill thing to record and it's pretty fun.
I got a question for you. Can you promise some Fortnite compilations
Some Fortnite compilations
with me and you?
with me. You know, I could probably promise that. I could promise a Fortnite gameplay with you, Jacob. Probably.
Hell yeah! Looking forward to that.
I made one Fortnite video, and that was horrible. I didn't know anything about Fortnite, but I know more about Fortnite now. I think I could probably do it. But back to
It's
back
a
to
completely
Xander's.
new game from the last time you played it.
Seriously, every time I stop playing it, it just ends up becoming a new game. But back on to Xander's question, I do want to do gaming, of course, because it's just I do it all the time, and it's just a chill thing to edit, and it's really fun. But I would like to get into more like filmography type stuff. Like recently, I just went to watch the Clue play for our high school, and that was really cool. And like, I was thinking, you know, maybe I want to try out for the next play, because subtly in my life, acting has been like something that I enjoy. Anytime I've ever had to like improvise a role or act, it's always been super fun, and I've always seen myself as this like outgoing character whenever I'm like acting or improvising. So maybe do like skits and whatnot, or commentaries, because like I watch a lot of commentaries and they're pretty funny, but I don't know if I'd be witty enough to do a commentary.
I mean, I know
would still keep
you've
gaming.
done one in the past, haven't you?
I've done a decent amount of commentaries. I didn't really, because I wanted to do more, but I never was really that good at them.
Yeah, you started showing your face in a couple videos.
Yeah, my best commentary was the one with iDubbbz and Rice Gum. That was probably my best commentary because I articulated myself pretty well. But when I did like the Leafy versus Onision rant, that I just did not. I needed to think of what I wanted to say better, you know.
Yeah, you just kind of threw it together shittily at the last second.
Yeah, really.
You didn't really try too much.
Yeah.
What games exactly would you do? Would you just stay with just Fortnite and like Overwatch, or would you expand your collection?
Oh, for sure I'd expand. When I can and when I actually have time, I want to start playing different games. I just haven't been
Red Dead 2.
I would do that.
Yes.
I would
Hell
actually
yeah.
do. Now that I think about it, I would actually do a Red Dead.
And then Online's
Redemption as
coming
well.
out in like a month, so
I just need to. I need to get Red Dead. That's the only problem. I'll get it, and I would literally do a Let's Play of it because like a Let's Play doesn't require as much editing, so I would do that for sure.
And then you can do some online funny moments on the side.
Yeah, and you know what?
'Cause-
That's a good idea. Because this is probably really bad coming from me, but I never played Red Dead Redemption, the first one.
It's fine.
but-
A lot of people haven't.
I just haven't been getting new games. That's the only problem.
Or playing them.
Yeah,
All you play is TF2 and Overwatch and Minecraft.
yeah, I haven't even played TF2 in a while. Now that I think about it, I need to get back into the swing of playing video games again. Okay, we can get into a deep dive on the album now. So, this album basically ended up like Epicenium did, which Epicenium was my last album that I made before Hellbent. it really ended up exactly the same because I wasn't expecting as many songs. I just wanted to do like a small album, but it grew into something so much bigger and so much more meaningful. And it's really been that way like for all of my albums so far, because it always starts off as just I want to try new music, I want to like make a little project, but then it ends up becoming more meaningful because of the events that happen in my life. A lot of Hellbent is centered around my breakup, and I don't even want to get into that because people don't really need to know that. But before my breakup is when I started working on Hellbent, and things were perfectly fine. And at that point, I was just like, I knew I just wanted to try new music and whatnot. I wanted to make more music and do a project. So I started working on new music, and then eventually, when things started going wrong in my relationship, that's when my creative inspiration started to come out more, because I was sad and I had a lot of concepts in my mind that I wanted to pour out, and it ended up going really well in really the whole process, because I didn't expect it to be this way.
Yeah, that happens a lot, like with a lot of breakups and stuff. It leads to albums.
Yeah.
Coming in from artists.
Yeah. But with Epicenium, I started working on that album after X's death, because like I wanted to work on a project to kind of talk about the problems that were centered around that. And then when I'll just say it, when Ashton died, that the album took on a whole new meaning then, because then I was having, not only was I talking about the problems with that and X's death and violence and all these bad things, but I was also having my own personal like conflict throughout while I was making Epicenium. Like my fear of death was at its all-time high, and then finishing it, looking back at it, it's like it perfectly encompasses everything that I was thinking about during that situation. And with Hellbent, looking back on it now, it really, like the dichotomies between the genres in the album are really what encompass me changing as a person. Because in Epicenium, every single song was sad, but in Hellbent, it's like I'm starting to get better, as in I'm starting to put more happy songs and more energetic songs in there. And like the fact that it's more of a mixed bag of genres, it symbolizes that I'm starting to like gain more emotions and bring out more emotions. So I still do have this sadness in me and these concepts that I'm pouring out in songs like Farewell and Lies and I Killed Myself to Say It Ain't So by Weezer, but I'm also changing, and I'm having confidence, and I'm being energetic with songs like Mario World and Got 'Em and Whipping Up and things like that, because like I said, it's my personal pursuit of happiness, and it's me looking for happiness. It is my way of looking for happiness, and it's also my way of spreading my message. In the description of the album, I put my own personal pursuit of happiness. Then I said, the evanescence of life is something you should not worry about. Instead, focus on the goal that you are hell-bent on achieving. Now, evanescence is like a short time span, basically. So the short time span of life is something you shouldn't worry about. Don't worry about how short life is going to be. Don't worry about all the bad things that are going to happen to you. Just worry on the goal that you're hell-bent on achieving. Me personally, my goal is to get my message out there, grow bonds with people, and keep making this music that people can relate to, hopefully, or just feel better to. You know, that's my goal, and I'm not worried about how short life is. I'm not trying to worry about the bad things when I'm focusing on my goal. So Hellbent really was just, I didn't expect it to be as meaningful to me as it was. The process of making the album was it's pretty interesting, because a lot of the different genres on here I just like made on a whimsy. I was like, man, I want to try a different genre. I made it instantly, and I was like, oh my god, I did that. So for instance, like Goner with Swole Body, I never thought I could make such a like vibey trap song like that, but I went in and I recorded it, and I was like, oh my god, I actually did it. And the Swole Body's verse was perfect, so the song was just awesome. And then Misfit was actually, now that I think about it, Misfit was the second song that I made that was made for the album. And it was so different because I produced Misfit all by myself.
Yeah.
And when I made that beat, I knew, at least at the time, that I wouldn't be able to do good on that beat. Because I didn't have a good enough voice, I didn't have a loud enough voice. So I was like, I actually sent it to Bandingo, who I ended up working with anyway. But I sent it to Bandingo, and I was like, yo, you want to use this beat? He never ended up responding. And then eventually, when I was working on this album, one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. Because I was listening to a bunch of X songs. I was listening to Fuxk with him and Ski. And I was like, yo, this is so hard. I want to make a song like this. So I went on my beat. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. So in about an hour, I'd say, I whipped up this song. And I had my vocals layered and everything. And the beginning of the song, actually, or the beginning of the process of making the song was me testing how loud I should be. So it went from me full on ripping my lungs out screaming, and that didn't sound good enough. So I ended up like going a little quieter. Still just sounded a little weird, and then I found a perfect vocal range for it, which is me just being like loud and having a higher pitch. And then I did that for the rest of the song, and I had a good flow and everything, and I wrote these lyrics as I went. Eventually had it all recorded, and it was just done. And I was like, I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh my god, I actually just made this song with my own beat, and I was so proud of myself. So that's the story of Misfit. Times Part 2, track number 1. I made Times Part 2 in the summer, in August. Like a little bit after I released Epicenium, I made Times Part 2. And I wrote the lyrics when there was no internet. So I used LTE on my phone and went on this beat that I found and wrote lyrics to it because I couldn't record. So I was just like, you know what, I can't record it, so I'll just write lyrics to it. And I wrote the lyrics to it, and then eventually, like 2 months later, finally it was like, oh my god, I can record this now. So I went on the beat, and I had recorded the lyrics. When I wrote the lyrics, I didn't think it would be Times Part 2. I just named it Future because it was like hopeful for the future. But then eventually I was like, man, this song actually is literally just the sequel to Times, because I actually referenced Times in the song, because the line where I say food was my enemy but now it's myself, because in Times I said food is my enemy but the wind is too breezy, something like that. Because the whole point of Times was for it to be like a heartbreak and you losing yourself. Times Part 2 is all about finding yourself again, and that ties into the music video. The music video, if you didn't already get the meaning behind that, the meaning behind it is new me is wearing the gray jacket and has my hair up, and the old me is wearing the same Superman Batman jacket and my hair down. And if you don't understand the context of the Superman Batman jacket, I've had the Superman Batman jacket since early
the beginning of time.
Basically, yeah.
You've had it for so long.
I know. I've had it since I think early 7th grade, and I've worn it like all the time since then. And I still wear it, because it's like it's just a part of me, you know, and I love it to death. So that it signifies old me, because old me always had the hair down. Old me always wore that jacket. And I mean, not to say that new me doesn't still do that, because I still do wear my hair down and I still do wear that jacket, but it's just more of like a symbolization thing. That's old me. New me is wearing new clothes and has the hair up, because I never used to put my hair up. The meaning behind that video is new me is trying to find old me again, because new me is so focused on the past that new me is just lost. You know, he puts up the missing person poster trying to find himself again. That's the whole point. I'm trying to find myself again.
So you're just kind of trying to say you've just lost the essence of who you were.
I lost the essence of who I was because of whatever situation it was. The situation for me was the breakup, and that ties into the first Times, and Times Part 2 is me finding myself again. And you could relate it to whatever situation you're going through. If you went through a situation that isn't heartbreak, you could still tie it in. Really, the song is just about finding yourself again after you've lost yourself. And I lost myself due to a breakup. And then in the end of the music video, I find myself. I meet up with myself again. Me coming up to myself at the riverbank and meeting and coming face to face with myself again, that's symbolization of me finding myself again. And old me hands new me a memory. And the memory is, it's actually one of my homecoming pictures. And my ex is cut out of the picture. I didn't do that to disrespect her. I did it for the music video. And I knew looking at that picture with her in it kind of hurt anyway, so I cut her out of it. And that's kind of symbolizing that old me is giving new me the memory of old me, so that new me can keep going, you know? So that new me doesn't have to keep focusing on the past. New me can keep going, but every once in a while reminisce on the past days. Because I was stuck in such a loop with the situation that Times Part 2 is about, and that Times is about, where I had lost this person that was so important to me. And this person not only just represented the love that I had, but represented my past. Represented so much of my past. And that hurt a lot to me, because it was almost like I was losing my past self. It was like I was losing the essence of myself. And I knew that I had to get over it and find myself again.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even now, I've done so much after my breakup to work on myself and change myself and talk to new people and just change everything in my life for the better, but still keep that part of myself, you know? Because I'm not going to leave all that behind.
I was kind of curious on how long it took you to film the music video.
How long? Actually, you know what? I don't even remember. I think
did you do that in like all one day, or did that take?
It was all in
days?
one day.
Oh shit.
I think it took like 2 to 3 hours to film all that.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. It was a pretty fast process, because
That's really impressive, considering a lot of music videos take like days to make.
I know. Because we didn't have very like professional special effects, but we did still do pretty good. And in that 2 to 3 hours, we drove down to the train tracks, and then we drove over by like by the band shell, and we drove by the riverfront, and we drove to some other places. We drove to the laundromat and whatnot. We filmed all those shots, and we were debating on coming back for the second day to film again, and maybe do some editing, but I figured that we didn't need anything else. I figured the simplicity of what we had was good enough. Or, well, I guess I shouldn't say good enough, but it was good. I figured what we had was good. I didn't think we really needed anything else, because Noah had his own part of the genius of that music video. Because while we were like going around and filming, he had gotten B-roll shots, and that was something I never thought to do. And B-roll shots is just background shots, and I used a lot of the B-roll in the music video, and he just was doing it unconditionally. He just did it whenever there was a good shot, and I thought that was perfect. So he was a perfect person to film the music video. And then I edited it. He did the special effects scene in the beginning of the music video. And shout out to Relevant Beats. Like, the first beat I used by Relevant Beats was the beat to Times, and after that, I just kept using Relevant Beats, his beats, because they were just like, I'm such a big fan of his lo-fi beats and his boom bap beats. They're so good. And he's
How many songs did you use it in?
His beats?
Yeah.
If I believe so, I made Times Part 2, this song called Perfect, and then Mario World. But he's definitely got to be my favorite producer, at least for the lo-fi stuff, because like when it comes to like the trap stuff, my favorite producers got to be like Black Mayo or Fly Melodies. Those are the people who produce like Life Goes On and Goner with Swole Body. Speaking of Goner with Swole Body, onto that song. Now, Swole Body and I agreed on that song pretty early in the process. because I talked to him. I was like, I'm working on an album, and he was like, you want to work on another song? And I was like, yes, definitely. So we were talking beats and whatnot, and he sent me a beat by Black Mayo, and I already knew it was gonna be good because it was Black Mayo. So I listened to it, and he suggested speeding it up because he said that it was awkward to rap on. So if you look at the actual type beat of that song, it's a little bit slower than the actual song. But we sped it up a little bit to a good rapping speed. Goner was like a learning experience for me because I had never done a song like that before. Goner was a very swole body centered song. I know it's that sounds weird to say, but I centered my whole style around swole body style in that song because I knew he layered his vocals a lot. He has a certain flow and he has a certain tone of voice, and I knew I wanted to match that as best as I could. So I went in and rapped it a certain way, and then layered my vocals, and it sounded perfect. It matched swole body so well. So it was really just a learning experience, and swole body took a decent amount of time. He took a sizable amount of time to finish his part, but I understand because he only can do he only does really features when he has the energy to. So it takes him a little bit, and I understand that because you don't want to like put bad energy into making a song. So the song came together really nicely, and I remember I had finished the song and I sent it to him, and he's like, "It doesn't sound right. Could you add reverb to it?" So I added reverb to it, and it actually sounded a lot better than my finished version. Now, Whippin' Up featuring Bandingo. Okay, here's the thing. I produced Whippin' Up. I produced that beat all by myself because I was there was a song off of Bandingo's album. It was called Dingo Day. His album was called Dingo Day. And there was a song off of it called Jetpack. It was produced by Polo Boy 81. And that song, it bumped so hard. The beat was just so crazy, and I was like, I want to make a beat like that. So yeah. I went into the studio, and I messed around with some things, and I ended up making this beat. And I finished it, and I sent it. Or I actually, now that I think about it, I never sent it to Bandingo. Oh, now that I think about it, I actually wanted to use that beat for myself. But I never actually did really good on it until I recorded the song with Bandingo. It's funny because I recorded it all in like 30 minutes. I recorded my part in like 30 minutes if I remember correctly.
Shit, it took him like 3 months to get his.
Exactly. No disrespect to Bandingo. He's a busy dude, but I got my part done right before I ate supper that day, and did it in like 30 minutes because I really wanted to hit my part done for him to be able to finish it. It ended up actually really good. Like my part, like I did a lot better than I thought I would on that song, and then it took. I really don't want to sound disrespectful when I'm saying this, but it took a sizable amount of time for him to finish his part, and I can understand because he's busy and whatnot. But when he finished it, he went off on the song. I don't even care like that he didn't give me clout by promoting it. He didn't promote it probably because he did it for free, and I don't really care about that. It was a good song. Not anybody, but a lot of the people who listen to the album could probably say that Whippin' Up was their favorite song. So I'm proud of that, and it's already hit 100 plays in not even being a week of the album being out. So I think that's pretty cool. Got 'em, Prod, Polo Boy 81, and Death Wish. That song I actually made like right before I released the album. I had this beat. I was looking at Polo Boy 81's channel, and I found a beat, and I was like, yo, this is hard. I want to experiment with this. I went in one day after school. I was really happy that day. I remember I was really happy that day because of some stuff that was happening with a certain girl, Xander. I was really happy, and I went home, and I had a little bit of time to record. So I went in and just went off. I had so much energy, and I just went off, and I ended up finishing the chorus, I think, or some of the chorus. Well, not chorus really, but the hook. And then the next day, the next day I finished the verse and then the rest of the chorus.
Yeah,
and that was just.
I mean, when I'm listening to this, I'm actually listening to it right now. I mean, as you're talking about them, I'm listening to them, and I can feel the energy.
Yeah.
In that song,
for sure. So the next song, which actually has a lot of meaning to me, is Farewell featuring Squirrel Flower. Now, this song has multiple different important meanings behind it. Now, if you look into the lyrics of the song, it's heavily Jesus related, and that's purely because the night before I recorded the song, my dad had came in my room and was lecturing me for like an hour and a half on the miracles of Jesus. And like, whether you believe in Jesus or not, the stories are like awesome. They're cool. They're very fascinating.
I mean, with any religion and any famous character within that religion, I mean, it's always like that. They always portray these characters as high beings and doing amazing things. But
yeah, and I thought it was amazing because it related, or at least I could find a way to relate to it. And then the second meaning is the actual song that my song samples. The chorus says, "I'll be gentle and I'll take it slowly, just as long as you say you don't need me." And like right away when I heard that, and I was like, I can relate to that, because it's almost as if the person who's breaking up with me is saying, I'll take all of this slowly as long as you can say you don't need me. As in, like, you need to move on. You need to say you don't need me. And then it says, I'll do you right and I'll take it steady, but when I say go, you better be ready. Almost like the person who's breaking up with me is saying, when I say that you need to go, when I say that you need to move on, you better be ready. And I could relate to that so much. So both of those meanings to me really just hit hard. And I ended up kind of flipping the Jesus thing on its head, because I said things like, I met the devil in the desert and he told me to follow. I told him no, then I walked to John. Had my head dipped in the holy water, but it's still the same. The whole point of dipping your head in holy water, aka a baptism, is to change. But in this situation, when I'm baptized, it doesn't change because of how bad it is, how bad everything is. Nothing changed. Everything stayed the same. And then when it says, I lay in the sepulcher, Jesus makes me rise, but I still hurt, that's the story of Lazarus. When Lazarus' family was begging Jesus to heal him, Lazarus died, and he was laid in the sepulcher. A sepulcher is like where you lay bodies before you bury them. And he was laid in the sepulcher. Jesus walked in and said, arise, my son, something like that. And Lazarus was alive. So I say, I lay in the sepulcher, Jesus makes me rise, but I still hurt. So it's like, I may be alive, but I'm still hurting, like, even if you bring me back from the dead, I'm still gonna hurt. And then the last part says, like I'm the disciples, I try to walk on water, but I've got no hope, so I sink. That is the story of, I believe, Peter. I think Jesus and Peter were like on a boat or something. I think I think multiple of his disciples were on the boat with him, and Jesus had gotten off the boat and was walking on water, and Peter had gotten off the boat and tried to walk on water too, but he started to sink into the water. And Jesus said, as long as you believe in Jesus and as long as you have hope, then you can walk on water. And in this situation, I'm saying I don't have any hope, so I do sink into the water. And so that's how I flipped the whole Jesus thing on its head, and made it into a different connotation. And then that mixes in with the I'll be gentle, I'll take it slowly, and things like that. And then that's why I called it Farewell. It's really a song to say goodbye. In my own heart, it's a song to say goodbye. And then the last two lines says, don't you dare say you do not know me. And I take that as, don't act like you don't know me. Don't act like I'm a stranger. Do you realize how much of my past is you? And you're trying to act like I'm a stranger. And you're trying to treat me like a stranger. And the thing about it is, I had found that it really wasn't a beat, because it's actually the instrumental to a song called Conditions by Squirrel Flower. It is the instrumental. And I didn't know that. If I would have known that, I wouldn't have made the song. But I found it on YouTube as a tight beat. Someone had put it on YouTube as a tight beat. It said it was produced by Nasty Beast. And it was like an XXX tight beat. and I thought it was lovely. I thought it was a great beat.
Yeah.
And then I had made the song, and then after I made the song, I was looking back in the comments, and I was like, oh, this isn't even a type beat. This is someone else's song. This is an instrumental. So I had already made the song, and the song already had so much meaning to me, and I'd already like tried my hardest to make a good rock song. So I was like, I can't just take this down, you know. But I did everything in my heart of hearts to credit them. So I put Farewell featuring Squirrel Flower instead of just saying produced by Squirrel Flower, featuring Squirrel Flower, and in the description I say original is Conditions by Squirrel Flower. All credit to Squirrel Flower for making that song really what it is. But then your guy, at least Xander's favorite, Lies.
You went home. This is what you told me. You said you went home the day that you were told that Katie was dating Tanner, and you made Lies that exact same day. That's the exact story you told me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it went. Actually, yeah, because that was a Friday. That happened on a Friday, and that night I stayed up and made that song. Yeah. Okay. So, we really got kind of personal into that. I didn't think we were gonna be naming names, but yeah, that is how it happened. A day after, or not a day after, but the same day that I found out that my ex was dating someone else. I had stopped talking to her, and I wrote this song, and I recorded it, and it was just like my pure anger. It was literally my pure anger that made this song, because I gotta be brutally honest. I do somewhat name drop in this song, but I used a play on words, if you can call it a play on words. I said, we're ripped apart from each other. Feel a burning sensation. Now I'm Tanner. So it's like, I don't think Tanner is actually a word. I think it's like more tan, but I used it as like, you feel a burning sensation. Now you're more tan, or you're Tanner.
No, Tanner is a word.
It is a word.
Pretty sure it is. Yeah.
So I used that word to relate a burning sensation, but it's like I used his name because I was so mad. I like wanted to name drop. I feel kind of bad about it now, but it is a very good song, and I my lyrical wit I think was pretty good in this song. Then on to 563 Die With Me featuring Fig Carl remix. Now this song, I had recorded the original 563 Die With Me in the summer, and it was a day after, or was the same day as some crap that was going on with me and my ex when we were together. There was some stuff going on with her and some peer pressure. Was it? I don't even know if it was peer pressure. Just she did some stuff that I didn't really approve of, and I was scared of it. And I went home and I had all these thoughts in my head. So I wrote this song really quickly and I recorded it. Mama, please, I'm begging you, put down the cig. Baby, please stop hitting all of them mids. Daddy, please, I can't see you toting the stick. Sock on the mic studio where I hid. So it's like, Mom, please stop smoking cigarettes. Because a lot of my childhood, I was very heartbroken because my mom smoked cigarettes and she was destroying herself. But she did end up quitting, and she's perfectly healthy now. But baby, please stop hitting all the mids. You can probably guess that. Daddy, please, I can't see you toting a stick. That was like the fact that my dad was in the army and that he almost could have died in war was like, I didn't want to see that, you know. I didn't want to think that. So then Sock on the mic studio where I hid, it's I hide in the studio writing all this crap, you know. The meaning behind this song in particular is like, you don't need all these other things to cope. You know, you don't need drugs, you don't need alcohol, you don't need anything else. You can just hit my line. You can just talk to me, you know? Hit the first three numbers, then you know what comes. You know, you don't need to do all this crap. Just talk to me. And then Fig Carl, he got his feature done super fast because I asked him, and he was like, yeah, sure, send me the song. I sent it to him. I think about a day or two later, he sent it to me, and he was done. And it was just that easy. So I really respect Fig Carl for that. He really like emphasized the motive of hit my line, because he had like the and things like that in his verse, and he's like, hit my line if you were feeling down. And I really love the transition from his verse to the hook, where he says, really all you gotta do, really all you gotta do is, and then I come in with hit my line. It's crazy because Fig Carl like read my mind when he was writing these lyrics, because he said, I understand all you want to get is high, so damn stressed gonna lose your mind, little bit of weed, some drink combined, really all you gotta do is hit my line. It's like, did you know exactly what the song is about? Because I didn't tell him about it until after we made the song, what the song was exactly about. So that song came together perfectly, all because of Fig Carl's like knowledge. Now the next song, track 9, Taking It Back. This song I made around the same time that I made Farewell, I'm pretty sure. A thing about this song is that the producer, Bloody, he put this beat on YouTube as a type beat. He put in the tags, he put free type beat. So I'm like, and really the rights, there's a correlation between the rights of the producer and the rights of the artist. Really, an artist should be able to use any instrumental as long as they understand the rights of the producer and they don't unlawfully or unrightfully try to make profit off of it. So really, if there's a type beat on YouTube, the whole point of a type beat is to make a beat, put it out on YouTube for people to use, you know. But Bloody, somebody had commented, they were like, can I use this beat for free? And maybe Bloody just didn't understand what he meant, because what that means is, can I use this beat for non-profit? But Bloody said, no, I'm sorry. Which is like, so I'm not allowed to use this beat that you on your free will called a type beat and put on YouTube. I can't use it. And then somebody had somewhat exposed him. They were like, yeah, neck ass, you put free type beat in the description of the video. I'm gonna use this beat. So I didn't really care. I used the beat because I liked it, and I respect Bloody for his talent in producing. But really, this song was just, it kind of encompasses my confusion around religion, kind of, because in the end I say, if you're really up there, just help me, God help me. So it's like, and then I also say, oh man, the plan is just above me, so is a God that doesn't ever touch me. And it's like, the God that is supposed to help all of us is not doing anything to me, doing anything to help me, you know. And it kind of encompasses my confusion around whether I should believe in this, because it's like, should I believe in this if my life is going to be this bad? Or at least that's how it was at that time when I made this song. But really, this song was kind of like a lies situation where I had this built up concept that I wanted to pour out somewhere, so I wrote a bunch of lyrics and put it in a song. Now the next one, this one has a lot more meaning. This is I Killed Myself to Say It Ain't So by Weezer. Now, it's a long title. The reason it's a long title is because the phrase I killed myself to say it ain't so by Weezer relates to when I was going through problems in my relationship. There was a day where I was driving home from school. I had dropped everyone off that was riding in my car, and I was just riding around alone around my house, near my house, and I was full on crying because I was just so hurt and I was so sad, and I just was letting it out while driving. And Say It Ain't So had come on, and Say It Ain't So is a song from my past. It's like a song that means a lot to me. It's very nostalgic to me. So when it came on, it reminded me of all these memories that I had with this person, and I was in such a bad place that I was like, if I'm gonna kill myself, this is the song I'm gonna do it to. And so I thought of that phrase right then and there. I was like, I killed myself to say it ain't so by Weezer. And I was like, I know I want to make this into something. So this beat by Punkstar, Punkstar. And I posted my song in the comments of the type beat, and he was like, yo, you snapped on this. And I was like, I respected him so much for responding to that.
That's neat.
I do get pretty flowy in the second verse, but I didn't really care that much about the flow, but I did care a lot about the lyrics. Okay, I'll go into a deep dive on some of these lyrics now. Aesthetic pain and dull scissors slitting on me, call me jit. I use the phrase aesthetic pain and dull scissors because aesthetic pain is like, it's almost like I'm making art out of my pain. I'm making an aesthetic out of the pain that I'm going through. And then dull scissors is actually a line that my ex had put in one of her writings. She had put it in one of her writings, and it was about someone else, and I used that phrase as a reference to her. I used the phrase dull scissors as a reference to her, and then I say, I kill myself for societal writing standards that I do not fit. So it's like, so you either kill yourself with society or without society. That's what I'm trying to say. So you either kill yourself to riot for society, or you kill yourself because of the standards that you do not fit in society. And then I got a little bit creative here. I put Tagalog in my rap because my family is very Filipino, and everyone down in Louisiana, those are my cousins, they're all very Filipino. My grandparents live down there, and they all speak Tagalog. So I wanted to kind of tie that in a little bit, and I said, Pumate ako sa sarili ko. Pumate ako sa sarili ko means I kill myself. And then it says, you cannot tell me shit. And then this next line, broken collarbones and shattered dreams are what my mind's become. Broken collarbones is another line from my ex that she put in one of her writings, and I used it as another reference to her. And broken collarbones is basically like you've got so much weight on your shoulders, or you're dealing with so much that your collarbones break, metaphorically. A lot of the lyrics are a lot more self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Really, those first lines that I just described are like the most important lines of the song, because they encompass what the song is referring to. And then the next song, A Story About a Boy. Now this song I made in the summer. I made this song in the summer. And I wanted to experiment with like a Lil Peep type song. And Sauron, he's an excellent producer. I don't even know if it was even a tight beat. I think he had just made this song because he wanted to, and I don't know if he had it as a beat, but and I didn't know how I wanted to use it because I had recorded the chorus multiple times, and finally I decided that I'd layer my vocals, and I did that, and it sounded just perfect. It sounded beautiful. And basically what this song is about is it's a story about a boy, and that boy is me. That's why the chorus is like, that boy is me. And it says, I once heard a story about a boy who needs time to himself. He seeks attention but doesn't want it. He's conflicted. So it's like, I have two different sides of me. I have one side that just wants to be alone all the time, and I don't want to talk to people. And I have the other side that wants attention and that wants to get himself out there. Now, Let's Talk at Night was my first attempt at a pop song. And I think I did pretty good. It's a pretty short song. Well, not really short, but it's like in lyrical content, it's pretty short. Because it's just one verse and then the rest is chorus.
Yeah, but it's good.
Yeah. And I remember I was recording this song at night, which is ironic. So let's talk at night, you know. I recorded this song like basically fully at night because that's when I was like alone and I was able to record it. So, and really, I guess really what the song is about is like, I'm sad, so let's talk at night. I guess that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, now Painted Flower. Surprisingly, there's two people that really like this song, which like it's a more obscure song in the album, but there's two people that really like this. Xander Seitz, he loves this song. He's cried to this song. Maybe he didn't want me to say that, but
Just exposed him right here.
I just exposed him. Really what this song, the reason I called it Painted Flower is because it's like, if you paint a flower, you won't know what its true colors are. And then I say in the chorus, I'm like, I'm a painted flower, what are my real colors? So, and then it's like somewhat of a love song a little bit. And I produced this one myself too, and I was very proud of myself because I remember one day I went in and had a really nice piano melody that I played, and then I added a little bit of Rhodes to it, Rhodes piano to it. I added a bass guitar to it. I added violin at the end of the song, and then I added drums to it, and it just like sounded perfect. And I was like, I want to make an indie song out of this, so I did, and recorded it, and I had lyrics, and it just came together. It was perfect. Hellfire, I recorded half of it on the same day that I finished Misfit. And Hellfire, the lyrics to Hellfire, I actually wrote in my first hour. I think I wrote all of Hellfire in my first hour, because I was so bored and I wanted to get myself, like, my feelings out to something, so I was writing, and I think it was all in first hour. Now that I think about it, and then I wrote like just a little bit more just at home, but if you listen closely, you can somewhat hear that my voice is like just worn out from screaming on Misfit in like the first half of the song. And then the second half of the song I recorded, I think, the day after. A Poem from Matthew, which is the second to last track on the album. This song is really not even my song. The creativity that went into the song was all by Matthew. And if you don't know Matthew, you can watch some of my older videos. He's been in a lot of them. And he's one of my friends. He's from California, and he wrote 2 poems. And he sent them to me, and I had suggested the idea of making them into a song, and he really liked that idea. So I finished it all in that one night, because it was pretty easy. It was a pretty easy song to record. So I recorded it, and he loved it. So I personalized that track for him. That's why it's A Poem from Matthew. Now, the whole reason for putting an instrumental and electronic song at the end of the album as an outro is to kind of wrap up what you've been listening to, and to give you your opportunity to interpret a song in whatever way you want to. That's why it's called the people's melody. This is the melody for the people. I did the same thing with Epicenium, where at the end I had Electrify as the outro, and that song was just a song to wrap up everything and interpret it in whatever way you wanted to. I think it's a good way to wrap up the album, because it almost kind of encompasses everything. It can encompass everything. You can interpret it as the same meaning as Painted Flower, or the same meaning as A Story About a Boy, or even the same meaning as Mario World. You could literally have whatever meaning this song that you want, and it's the melody for the people. And it was originally a different song. The People's Melody was originally a different song that was more like a tribal song, I'd say. Less electronic and more kind of tribal. But I ended up making an electronic song, and I was like, this song sounds so much better as an outro, so I put it in. And that was how I wrapped up the album. And I'm really glad I was able to express my my change as a person through this album, because I really have changed so much in the short time. Like, since school started, I've changed a lot. It's crazy how much I've changed. And this album just encompasses all of it so nicely.
The last, 40 minutes, of this, it's just him talking about the entire album.
Yeah. Hey, it's not
basically
bad, though. I mean, it's a pretty good album.
Yeah.
He's worked pretty hard on it, and I think people should know the meaning behind it.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up something, actually, earlier.
What do you want to bring up?
Because we mentioned this out of nowhere. Like, before you even started, a few days before you started doing the 3P thing, we mentioned doing the podcast and naming it the 3P podcast. And, it clicked to me that without even trying and without even knowing, you doing the peace, prosperity, and perfection thing, that we were going to do a podcast named the 3P podcast.
I remember I went on a walk with Mo and Benton, and we had we brought up the idea of a podcast, because that's when I was starting to try to push my 3P message and things like that. and I proposed it to them, and they're like, "Yo, that'd be pretty cool." I'm trying to center a lot of my brand around 3P because it's what I've worked towards. You know, it's really, it encompasses my message. I think that about wraps it up. And you guys got any closing messages?
Not really. No.
You got anything, Xander?
Don't do drugs, don't play Fortnite, and stay in school.
Do the opposite of that. Anyway,
Do drugs. Fortnite all the time.
Yes, exactly.
Drop out of school as soon as possible.
Drop out of school. Okay.
Wait, I actually have something.
What do you have?
Are we allowed to drop spoilers on the one thing that I told you about that you were like, oh, that would be a great idea?
The album? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, the question popped into my head if you had any music that you were working on right now.
That I'm working on. Oh yeah, that I'm working on right now. Right now I'm working on. Once I have time to record, because I haven't had that much time to record recently, but I do have some songs, some beats, and some songs in the vault right now that I need to finish. And another thing that I'm really sad about is I didn't get to have Young Jay on the album. I really wanted to have him on the album, but he was going through a lot and he wasn't able to record because his mic was broken, so I understand. But I still do have a song with him called Hills that I finished my whole verse on, and I don't know if he's gonna finish it, but I would like to get that finished. I have another song called Heart of Mine, which features Shiloh, and I would like to try to get that out too. Yeah, I've been working on a lot of beats recently as well, trying to produce for myself more. But yeah, about the album, my next project, I'm not fully sure. I wanted to name it The Year of ALKA. And Xander had brought up that idea to me, and I like, we were just talking about, like, he was talking about like a name change or something, and then he had brought up that he would like an album named The Year of ALKA, and I was like, yo, The Year of ALKA, that sounds amazing. So I was also thinking of doing an all rock album, or like EP at least, called like Alchemy, but it's like Alka-me, you know what I mean? Something like that, because there's a lot of words that start with Alka, like Alcatraz, Alchemy, Alkaline, Alka-Seltzer. It works, I mean.
Yeah. Alkane does. Al Capone.
Al Capone.
ALKA.
It really works. But
Al Qaeda.
Al Qaeda.
Oh wait.
Wait a second.
This is getting bad.
But I think that about wraps it up for today. Hellbent out now, 19 songs. Very meaningful album to me. Many different genres, including rap, of course, indie, guitar, electronic, storytelling, and then rock as well. And music video for Times Part 2 as well. Go check that out. And thank you all for letting me spread my message and giving me a chance to start this way. But yeah, anyway, go listen to my music. I might be doing some more YouTube videos soon. More music coming on the way. Thank you to Xander and Jacob for joining today. And I'll see you guys in whatever I do next. So, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.